one, live.
What could be more reprehensible than two old farts? Three old farts featuring Dave and Steven and Greg Shapiro with funny ha-ha.
I still get a kick out of the introduction because it's almost like it's funny, haha. So it's a question, not really a statement. So
No,
it could go
right?
either way. And today we're missing Mr. David, who's behind me there in his bathing suit in his
Oh,
picture.
that's very
The
nice.
creation of David. So David is on holiday in Portugal.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
which is fine.
Yeah. So, and which I told him that now that he's not going to be on today's show, we're just going to talk about him behind his back, and he can watch.
Oh
it.
yeah,
No,
of
I'm just
course.
kidding.
Like, what kind of guy flies off to Portugal?
I know.
Yeah,
His partner Annette said we need to take a holiday.
Yeah.
Since I was off last week, apparently at an event. So David's like, it's my turn. I'm like, sure, go ahead. He apparently takes more holidays than I do. So but it's very good.
I
But
mean,
he's old. But he's older. You know.
Is that right?
Yeah, he's like, I think like his next birthday, he's pushing 100. So yeah, he looks good for his age. So it's impressive.
Old farts, indeed.
He's into old
and
farts.
it's Europe.
There you go.
It's Europe. We
Yes.
live for holidays, and we work occasionally.
Well,
So-
no, in France, you live for a holiday. So that's and see, I'm Jewish, so every other day we have a religious holiday. So for me, we only work like a 2-day work week anyway.
Sure.
So
yeah, collect them all.
I know
Take a
it's we
day
do. We
off,
collect
sure.
them at the end of the year. We use them. Well, good to
Yeah.
see you again, my friend. How have you been?
Oh yeah, it's been a while. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the latest news.
Yeah.
I always come in with climate themed stuff. And speaking of Portugal,
Right.
where David's having vacation, they're 100% powered by renewables for so many days in a row.
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't want to peel back the onion and have anyone be disillusioned.
Oh, I know.
It's like, so you sure? Let's go with that. So I'm afraid to say anything because I'm afraid that it'll be sort of like, oh, so
right.
it'll be the caveat. Well, I know you're big on the climate change, and you want to save the world, and I'm on the other side, of course. I'm trying to kill the world so the lizard people and AI takes over, and we can just get that going. But there was an article that just literally came out before we came on the air,
right?
From the Financial Times, and it says the COP28 draft agreement drops the phase out of fossil fuels. Document says countries could cut consumption, but you don't have to drop fossil fuels. So the notion that fossil fuels is going away is a dream.
Yeah.
So that's gone. So I thought that was an interesting article. It's just that we have a draft agreement and we are going to keep fossil fuels because apparently, and I give UAE a lot of credit because they had the conference in their background or in their backyard. And they were making oil deals while they were at the conference saving the planet. Kudos to them. So
there've never been more oil lobbyists apparently at a COP it's climate event. Fine. I mean, those are the easy points to make. But yeah, I mean, look, was it phase out, phase down? I think that's the phrase that I read this morning.
Hold on, documents of the countries. It says out of the range of action the countries could take cut emissions to a net zero by 2050. This includes reducing, this is the best part, consumption and production of fossil fuels in an orderly and equitable manner so to achieve a net zero commissioned by or before or around, I swear to God, this is what it says. I wish I was making this up. 2050 in keeping with science.
Oh, yeah.
Because apparently science doesn't know how to, there's an on and off switch and you turn it off and it stops. And I didn't go to MIT and have
elections are happening.
Right. And I didn't go to MIT and have 6 or 7 PhDs in science to know that. I just know that because I'm smart like that. So, so I thought that was very interesting that they acquiesced to, if you will, the UAE, Saudi, I'm sure our government,
Yeah.
Russia,
Yeah.
the list will go on of everybody. Venezuela and Trinidad. Trinidad and Tobago, by the way, is like the third largest oil producer in the world, which nobody knows.
No, I did not know
Yeah,
that.
we did a deal there many years ago, and they have
Huh.
this mega map in the oil minister's office. And
Huh.
by the way, going to see the president and prime minister of Trinidad and Tobago is like going to your grandma's. Going to see the oil minister when I went there, you get strip searched. You get like he's the guy with the power. Like it's like
Right.
42 different guards to go through. Seeing the
Whoa.
president's like going, "Hey, Greg, we're going to lunch," and so is the
Oh,
prime minister.
okay,
So it was
nice.
funny. But anyway, he has a map on his wall,
Yeah.
and his map shows you
Yeah.
where all the oil is. And because Venezuela, you can literally see from Trinidad and Tobago on a clear day.
Oh yeah.
There is for lack of a better term, I guess, whatever, is a river runs underneath both countries, and they both drill into it.
Oh.
And so they are like back in the day, I was going back 8 or 9 years ago, with the
The
third
river
largest
of oil, you mean? Let's be
oil
specific.
producer, in the
Yeah.
world. And I was shocked by that.
Okay. Wow.
I don't think people
You
knew
know who
that.
else
Yeah.
is just off the coast of Venezuela is one of the Dutch islands. Is it Curacao? The
Curacao, I
ABC
think. Sure.
islands. There's Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao. One of them is basically off the coast of Venezuela. I guess not situated above that river of oil.
Of oil, yes. So
Uh,
very cool. But yeah,
but-
so I thought that was interesting because I know you're saving the planet, which is wonderful.
no, hold on.
You're trying to.
Let's debate. Clarify the terms, right? Saving the climate was my thing. I mean,
Right.
and saving the planet. I mean, you always got to quote George Carlin. I think the planet's going to be fine.
Yes, with or without us.
We're fine.
Right. We're screwing it up.
Yeah, but yeah. So that's George Carlin line. But meanwhile, the climate or the debate about what who's responsible and what's really happening. But even people who are espousing on my comments, that you can't prove that humans are responsible. But still, wouldn't it be nice if humans could learn to control the thermostat from the planet?
I do have a question though
about hotter or colder.
Right. Which idiot said that to you? That humans, it's not humans' fault that the planet's getting hotter? Because as far as I know, and I was around when the dinosaurs were here and the earth cooled back in the day, the dinosaurs didn't drive cars. They walked on their feet, as far as I know. And when I went to their houses, they weren't really using Vikings, where, like gas grills, and they didn't have power plant. I'm just saying, back in the day. So when they're saying it's not our fault,
right?
Am I missing something?
A secret? I mean, the heat of the planet has gone up, and ice ages, and heat waves, and and that's all true. So,
which is true.
But
we're helping.
Class.
And the other thing, which is interesting,
the Flintstones were responsible. They started it.
Well, Fred and Barney, sure. When you got Betty and Wilma, sure, they hardly wear clothes as the temperatures go up.
Although, but here's back to feet-driven cars. That might be a good one for.
That could be interesting. I will see what I found interesting is on all the articles. There was articles in, like we talked about, and we'll go into them through The Economist this weekend about saving the planet and whatever, and literally they all say at the end, it's basically too late. We've already gone up to 1.5 Celsius. We've already passed the tipping point. So everything we do now is good for, if you will, 100 years from now. It's like, it's not gonna, unless we're gonna go back to a COVID lockdown where nothing runs for a couple of months, then we're good.
A couple of years, really. Yeah. I know. And well, politically, like it's also interesting that the ramifications of having a lockdown or a shutdown like that seems to be this great discontent, and throw the bums out. And it seems like in the Netherlands we end up with more people, politicians who are closer to the category of climate denier than climate skeptic. Hey, look, I heard about the Economist, articles and takes on. I'm aware of the more, I don't know, financial or economical argument for phasing out of fossil fuels, phasing down of fossil fuels. And there's certainly, I believe, an argument that if you would stop fossil fuels tomorrow, then there would be calamitous, change happening right away without, a COVID shutdown or whatever. But, that there would be winners and losers in such a scenario, but a lot of the losers in that scenario would be some of the most vulnerable people economically, as well as health and safety, whatever, on the planet. So I understand that fossil fuels are uniquely scalable, and that may have indeed a role to play. I was just interested to see how, China goes into COP28 and they're like, well, actually we would, prefer either a phase out or phase down. Saudi Arabia, meanwhile, comes in with the argument, and all their lobbyists of like, is there any, real problem if we can scale up all of this carbon removal from the atmosphere? Then does it really matter how much we continue to put into the atmosphere, like humidifier versus dehumidifier?
Right. And that's what one of the articles was like. It's like there's so much technology coming out now.
Yeah.
And here's what I laugh about the technology. It still needs energy to run it.
Right.
So, and I think we talked about this on one of the other shows. It's like, listen, there's this thing, and I read about it in a book. I don't know if it's real. It's called the sun, which is 93 million miles away. And apparently there's another thing called solar power. Why aren't we using there's free stuff. I think Nikola Tesla had the right idea with his energy tower. And because he was saying the Egyptians were using pyramids around the world for free energy, but then no one makes money. So the interesting part to this is, if I own an oil company, or if I'm a country that has all the oil, do I really want to give free energy? Because then what do I do, right? So when they say they want to really help and whatever, I say that's bull, because they really all just want to die with the most toys.
That's in a way, and maybe let's just do that. There was, last week article about how, the impact of everybody in the middle classes, doing their recycling and separating and being, eating less,
doesn't help,
driving less. Meanwhile, there are like 10 billionaires that, among the 10 of them, they put out as much as everybody on the bottom half, maybe die with the most toys. That's fine. Look, on the potentially positive side, the final headlines of COP28 have not been written yet. And I was just going to point out, big picture style, that maybe Sultan Al-Jaber, I believe is how you pronounce it. Jaber?
Sure, let's go with that.
He is the head of ADNOC, the oil company of United Arab Emirates and Dubai, including Dubai. And he was already like blasted for saying something to Mary Robinson, I think, the former head of the climate he's he's the head of the COP28. So everybody said, his credibility is totally out the window. He said something to the tune of, you can't just say phase out fossil fuels. But was he speaking from, as CEO of ADNOC, or was he speaking from like The Economist that says it's not responsible to just, end it so harshly, so quickly? I don't know. But maybe then again, maybe he's the only one who could make a serious change. I don't know. And I just was thinking about who was responsible for America, the solving the acid rain problem. Must have been Jimmy Carter or something. Like, no, it was George Bush Sr. And who lowered the speed limits to 55 miles per hour.
Yep.
Because of the energy crisis in 1973.
That would be Carter, or Nixon Carter, I guess, right?
Nixon Carter. Richard Nixon. It's the biggest Republicans you can think of. The EPA started under Richard Nixon. So I mean, maybe
and the DEA.
And the DEA, of course.
But here's what's really funny about lowering the speed limit. Yeah, I know, right? But lowering the speed limit did nothing. And now, when I lived in Montana, the speed limit was like 75, 80. And here in Texas, there's a toll road, because everywhere is 65, maybe 70. There's a toll road here in Texas where it's 75. I just call it the Autobahn. So if I'm doing 75, 80, you would think I'm standing still.
They'll pass you on the right doing.
They pass me on they pass you on the right here, the left. They go like, if they have a big truck, they just drive right over you. It's no big deal. I mean, it's like, and I'm like, I love this place. Like, for a supercar, I'm like, this is the best place. And the police don't bother. It's like, You're paying your $3.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so and I don't know if that really lowering or raising a speed limit really helps. I think, I give the Germans credit. They left the Autobahn to be the Autobahn.
Oh,
But
yeah.
going back to all of it and the
Yeah.
shake, and I respect the shake because, I shake him. No, I respect him because the Sultan. I like it. I'd rather him be honest than to play the suck up, kiss up. Yeah, we're going to say, no, we're not saving the planet. And to a point, he's right. Why should we, the UAE, acquiesce to all this crap when nobody else is? It's a lot of lip service.
Right.
Nobody does anything. And at the end of the day, they're all still producing oil. So to his point, I agree with him. It would be different if they all said tomorrow, I'm making this up, of course, by 2030, everything we're going to do is going to run on solar and we're going to find other ways to make money.
Yeah.
And if they all agree to that, then I'd be like, well, that's impressive. But if I'm the head of a country and my 80% of my revenue is derived from oil, you know what? Screw you. What's the UN going to do? Nothing.
Well, so yeah. And by the way, I mean, apparently the Sultan does have some kind of conscience, I guess. One of the first things that came out of COP28 was a huge, like a bigger than ever payout for climate justice, or at least helping the, what do they call it, alliance of island-based nations that are, sinking, or and Jakarta.
Yeah, you're sinking. Hey, listen, here's a few shekels. Don't worry about it. You should move.
So, hire the Dutch to build you some new islands.
Build a dike. Hire a dike.
But yeah, right. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, you wouldn't think though that United Arab Emirates would be that interested in anything, new. They're probably trying to figure out how to drive a car with coal, but or feet, Flintstone style. But yeah. They have what are they? So I did a corporate event for a waste to energy plant.
Okay.
And this is an interesting one that you could maybe lend, or give me your 2 cents about it, because they're talking about waste plants. Used to be just an incinerator and smokestack. Build it high enough so that no one can complain too much. Right. So now they are figuring out how to, incinerate waste. Like in Amsterdam, for example, they shut down. There were 6 coal burning power plants in the country. One of them was right on the edge of Amsterdam city, right by the port. And they shut it down once those pesky Greens took over city council. But they replaced it. They replaced it with what? A garbage burning power plant. And
well, that's better.
Yeah. So apparently they run the whole tram service, and so what they claim the energy that they generate electricity with the turbine in the smokestack. Right. They use the steam. They use heating as well. They capture the heat and turn that into the not the gas grid, but like the warmtenetwerk, whatever in Dutch. So they heating. I believe certain amount of home heating. For like one whole neighborhood. They run the trams based on that electricity. Then come the emissions. So what do you do with all the emissions? They capture a lot of those. Apparently, one of these power plants, half of the equipment in that power plant is capturing the stuff, repurposing it. So this is not carbon capture and sequestration, but carbon capture and repurposing. So they'll reuse this stuff, and apparently there is a market for it.
Huge.
Right. For concrete and for even agricultural.
When we were in Trinidad and Tobago, the reason we were there was because we were talking with the government. We had a guy that had a waste to energy plant, just like you're talking about.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And in Trinidad and Tobago, and I talked to someone there about a year ago, and they still haven't done anything, and their garbage dump's getting bigger. Yeah. But you can literally put the power plant in. Back then it was like 30 million. You put it in.
I mean, CapEx, whatever. What is it? To invest, to set it up.
Yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, we figured it paid for itself in 2 years because of what it would do. So that's the question. Because you have what they call ice boxes, and the ice box will also hold over leftover power. You can burn it, you can do this, you can do that. Everything, it's basically self-sufficient, and it runs its own thing. The only two you kind of need humans to feed the trash. Sure. And you separate like I can't remember because it's a long time ago, but I think the rubbers go into one side and the rest of it
Sure.
goes to another side.
Okay. Yeah.
But it was actually going to generate enough for like half the island. And we're like, well, with
Yeah.
all the trash that you have, if you put 2 or 3, you'd literally get the whole island and you'd be self-sufficient.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean,
So
yeah.
that was
Well,
back
and
then.
then
I have to believe
you
the
can import
technology now is
garbage.
better. Yeah.
Amsterdam is importing garbage.
Yeah. I mean,
Amsterdam
right,
is
because they
importing
can do it.
garbage from Rome, from
Yeah.
Britain, to power the tram network here. I don't know
Wow.
how efficient it is. I don't know how whatever, but that's incredible. So you
Yeah.
said 30 million. I think they were talking about 300 million of
Well,
capital
this
expenditure.
was a small
Yeah.
little plant for Trinidad.
Okay.
And this was also 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming also because of the cost or whatever, I'm assuming today we just say with every inflation, we'll say it's 100 million, but still it
Yeah.
would pay for itself and whatever. But I remember we met with the president, the prime minister, and all the local Congress people, and they all loved it. But it was just like to get things passed there was
Yeah.
just sort of like good luck and God bless. It was
Okay.
like, guys, seriously, like this will help, and it was sort of like,
Yeah.
wow, like,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
we're good.
Well,
So,
that's apparently the same thing where they're at. This event that I attended or spoke at was in
Right.
Switzerland, and
Okay.
even the Swiss guys, like, also don't forget the bottom ash. There are precious metals in every load of household commercial waste, and they're talking about claiming, conflict minerals like cobalt and cadmium, and what if you wouldn't need to depend on human suffering for that. They even said something like, did you know that of every 600 households annual waste, there you can reclaim enough gold to create a gold wedding ring? I'm like,
wow.
Switzerland, enough with the gold. We know you.
Yeah, we know about the 30s and 40s. Like, yeah, don't keep bringing it up.
Garbage.
Right. We know about 1930,
Where
from
did it come
35
from?
to 45.
Maybe don't talk about incinerators and gold. Jesus.
Yeah, there's certain things the Swiss and the Germans should never put in the same sentence. It would be gold and incinerators. Those are the two things that never should be spoken. And for those two countries, even though the Swiss are the friendly Nazis, it's still, you shouldn't talk. So
Nazis,
yeah, that's like, yes, that's Germany. But yeah, so it's interesting.
Anyway, back to Dubai. Apparently, one of the countries that is investing heavily in waste to energy plants would be Dubai, a country that wouldn't need to do that. But apparently, there is an awareness from the leadership of United Arab Emirates that they do want to be part of the energy transition, or some kind of. There is a green themed neighborhood. They had this on the Dutch news the other night because the reporters are there for COP28, and they're talking about how normally you'd go to a swimming pool and you have a heated pool. In Dubai, they need to be cooled.
Yes.
You don't want to go swimming in 40-degree water. So
yeah, and for everybody, 40 degree, just so you're aware, that would be that'd be 110 Fahrenheit.
Right.
So yeah. So
great.
40 degrees hot. Yeah,
when the air outside is already 115. Sorry, yes, of course. Anyway, but yeah, they're coming up with green neighborhoods that are more like self-cooling, and you can go outside in the afternoon instead of having to huddle inside in the shadow in the air conditioning.
It's not the heat that's bad. When we were there a couple months ago, the heat was fine. It's the humidity.
Yeah.
And you walk out and you're in a suit and you have to go literally from 2 meters from the entrance of the hotel to the driver who's driving you, and you look like you already just got out of a pool.
Oh no, sorry, the oven is wrong. It's wrong analogy. It's the sauna.
Yeah, it's very much a sauna that way.
Yeah,
beautiful.
So it was humid in the desert.
Oh, it's very, because we were on the seaside over near where the palm is and and all that. So it is very humid. And so when we got downtown, it wasn't as bad, but it was still you knew you were in a desert. I wouldn't want to be out in the desert without water or whatever, but on the seaside, it's just like being in Florida. It's like, oh, it's humid here.
Or in Austin, Texas.
Austin, it's funny. It's humid in the summertime.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the wintertime, like right now, this morning I woke up, it was 0. So everybody in America, that's 32. And I was like, 0? Really? And then later today, it'll be, if
Cars
you will,
crash.
it'll be like 15 or 16. So it'll be about 60 degrees, if you will, for the people once again in America. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like, that's
yeah,
interesting.
a big swing. I know.
Yeah. And it all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
you wake up one morning and it's like, oh my God, like you have to have the fireplace going, got to
Yeah.
run the car for 10 minutes. And then in the afternoon, it's like, we'll go for a swim in a pair of shorts.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. So
And
it's a
that,
different, here
yeah.
it's just the swings are wild.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure why. So.
Right. Well, it's climate change. It's human caused climate change, Stephen.
Well, of course.
We have to save the planet.
That's right. So talking about saving the planet, the other interesting things I saw, so COP was interesting. I think I enjoyed reading all the I enjoyed reading all the articles that came from, because just everybody contradicted each other, every statement from every government leader. So to me, it was kind of like this would be great skits on Saturday Night Live. I was like all for it. Like, right, this is like, please just read this. Right. You don't even have to write anything. Just read what they're saying, because they all said something like, one guy's like, I agree. The next guy, I don't. And so to me, it was like the funniest thing. But I thought the other interesting things from the economists were, they were saying like trees alone, because everyone's like, plant a tree. Trees alone aren't going to save us. You need technology. You need this. So everybody's like, well, you're killing the rainforest. Okay. But, we need more than the rainforest. We have more people than the rainforest can handle. So I think I'm hoping the awareness now maybe is getting there, but I'm still like the Neom city that the Saudis are building that's ready for 2030, the futuristic city.
Future proof.
I don't know how they're going to power it. I'm hoping they're going to use some Nikola Tesla invention where it's like free energy, because to me, then you've really done something that's out of this world.
Yeah. That, you know what? And again, maybe let them surprise us, I guess. Because if Dubai is already investing in waste to energy power plants, and Neom should have enough sunlight, to make a lot of solar, but I don't know, it'll probably be all diesel generators as well, or nuclear. But
nuclear, I would take nuclear over an electric car, whatever, lithium battery any day of the week.
Even though now I hear that China's, meddling in the uranium markets. So
this isn't news. They've been meddling in everything since day one. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just China. You've got what, 3 billion people? You got to do something. And their economy now is
China, Stephen. China.
I know. And their economy sucks. Like, their economy is going down. I mean, like, they have their housing crisis right now. They've got a banking crisis. They have an unemployment crisis.
That is so scary, actually. That could create just so many seismic waves. You thought COVID was bad.
This is like, forget COVID. You've got a country that's literally the size of everybody other than India. They're having some real problems. And unfortunately, if you look at history, when companies go into these kind of problems, the only thing that gets them out of it is war. So I'm hoping we don't go that route, because ultimately that's kind of where you end up. It's like, how do we get out of a depression? Like, war is good.
So many places. So many wonderful, golly. Well, wait, I have one more example I wanted to share that's not war related. But well, it's also, you're talking about Nikola Tesla towers and hopeful, new technologies and whatever, or I don't know, just the amount of times that we thought like, there will be nuclear, weapon detonation or whatever. Like, you and me, we're old farts. So I grew up with the threat of nuclear winter, and
hide under the desk. Sure.
It's just a matter of time until someone fucks up and presses the wrong button, and it's going to be mutually assured destruction, So somehow that didn't happen. And that reminds me of this category of the population bomb, or whatever these books, and from the 60s, Malthus, the philosopher, talking about how there's only a certain amount of humans that we can have on the planet, but just the amount of times that we're supposed to have run out of food for everybody. And now, I don't know. My insights are sometimes just from hosting or speaking at corporate events. There's another Dutch guy who is busy with vertical farming, and so he's got his company called Growy, and they are really focused on trying to build in automation and maybe AI to bring down the cost of their greens. They're growing herbs, salads, and microgreens. I think that's like alfalfa, sprouts, and kale and stuff. But yeah, they're talking about having the first harvest of profitable vertical farming harvest. Vertical farming greens, and that should be in the in the springtime. But yeah, there are possibilities. There are, not just like, well, I keep seeing headlines like this could be a game changer. Like, don't show me could, show me will.
Either it is or it isn't. Right.
Yeah. And oh man, it's getting dark over here. I'm gonna have to turn up my lights. But anyway, there's one bit that I just so you talked about adaptation and funding for countries that really are getting too warm. Maybe their agriculture is taking a hit from the climate or whatever. But there are all these new grains that are more resistant and everything. There's jabal, there's fonio rubisco, which is known as duckweed. And
sure,
millets.
it's easy for you to say.
Yeah, right. Oh man, duckweed, man. You get so high,
dude.
But millets is another one. There's a whole series or whole category of greens. Apparently, India has been using these for centuries, I guess. But now they're just realizing, there may be.
Well, the Chinese too. The Chinese have been using all the herbs and whatever for thousands and thousands of years, and they look at us like a bunch of idiots.
I guess, like why are you having monocultures with rice and whatnot? So millets are apparently they have more protein than rice, and there's another one with like they can make soy. This is from a few years ago, but there's a Swedish firm that was trying to make soy from air.
Wow.
Involving hydrolysis. I can send you this link, but what is that one? Oh yeah, Jakarta is singing. It is sorry. I'll send you next.
That's fine.
But,
I do get a kick out of all the technology. Like I said, one article we spoke about before the show was about the carbon credits. You need more technology to help and do. And I remember when we were in carbon credits 10 years ago, there were big Christmas trees looking things you could put on a building and it would circle and capture credit, and the things would scrub and things would do this and things would do that. And all this stuff has kind of just died. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't see people doing it. It's kind of like we have some rhetoric from a 16-year-old kid who I think was absolutely nothing. And they put her up as the poster child. And then the government leaders are like, so I'm getting elected, let me just tell everybody I'm going to clean up. And then they don't care. It's just like the cop thing. Who cares? I mean, it's very nice that you guys went there and talked. Promises that they don't do. But it really, to me, it's sort of like, let's have everybody come talk about climate change while you're here. Let's do some oil deals. It really, at the end of the day, I'm okay with this. Because like I said, if you really want to do it, then all these guys would need to get together and go, we can do solar in X amount of time, or we can do, I don't know, whatever else, wind, do something, put ice boxes around the world, which captures, and you're good. But no, everybody wants to make, not that I blame them, money. So you can't really save a planet where everybody is using, the Gordon Gekko greed is good thing in the back of their mind. Just like, we're going to save everything. Greed is good. But we're going to save everything. But greed is good.
Well, it's Makes like, I mean, isn't it just your wallet versus, we're trying to square the cube with, we're trying to square the circle, sorry.
Right. Either way.
Squaring the cube turns out to be very easy. Squaring the circle with, this green sustainability versus green for your wallet, because you want to have a better world for your children, but that by giving them money in the bank account, right? There's a direct conflict, between rhetoric and promises and actually helping your own kids. But anyway, I don't know. I think I was reading something positive about COP28, and they were saying like, wow, even the doubters and naysayers, like nothing ever happens. They were saying we've never really seen as much open talk about, yes, fossil fuels are a problem. We can debate about how urgent they are, how the general media seems to be overhyping. Like, did you know there are less forest fires in Europe in the year 2023 than in 2022. Like you wouldn't think that, but like statistically speaking. And anyway, so there's, fine, the timeline and whatever, but no, it seems like more and more people are saying whatever the timeline, we agree that it's either phase out or phase down. That that
and according to the new statement, it's kind of like not so much a phase out, a little phase down, but it still goes back to if I'm the head of the UAE or Saudi.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we can phase out in the next 30, 20 years, 25 years, whatever it is.
2050.
So then I'm saying to my people, great, we have Neom as our city, and Dubai is basically just saying all the rich people come and pay no taxes, which I like. But it's sort of like, now what are we going to do? Like, are we going to be a developer where we say we've developed, maybe it's a car that runs on solar, and really you just sell the car and that's your it, and then everybody's buying your car and you make money that. I mean, so someone's gonna have to come up with something,
right?
Because in the year 2050, when they have COP 507, and they're all like, listen, we've got to get rid of fossil fuels. 2100 is when so it's kind of like we just keep pushing it. That's like, how much can you kick the can down the road? And that kind of seems what they're doing. So someone's really going to have to say, and I don't mean Elon with his make-believe crap, but I mean something that really does, for lack of better,
you realize you're describing Elon Musk, right?
No kidding, right? Yeah, with his stupid Cybertruck and all the. This guy's an idiot. Anyway, but hey, Elon, come on the show. Feel free to debate us. Anyway, but it to me then I would have more respect for them. Instead of just giving me stupid statements that mean absolutely nothing, because you just keep pushing the guide and the goal year after year, what suits you, right? Once it's going to be 2030. Now it was 2040. Now it's 2050. Okay. So next year it'll be 2060 and then 2070. So it's sort of like somebody's going to sit down one day, I think, that really means it. And it could be a government or a company, and they go, we're going to come up with a vehicle. Right. And it's going to run on solar. And that's it. Once you buy it, you need to do nothing with it. It'll run, and they'll sell you gadgets.
Right. Get a new one.
Well, no, what'll end up happening is just the widgets in the car, the apps, like your phone, they'll have all these apps.
Right.
So you'll have to pay your monthly subscription. And if there's a million cars on the road, and your subscription is $50 or $100 a month because you don't have to buy gas anymore, I'm thinking I'm making $50 million a month. That's real money at the end of the year. But so if somebody would think that way, instead of like, we've got to make money right this immediate second, then you see a change. But then I don't know if they would let them do that, because I think we spoke about, there was a guy whose car ran on vegetable oil. Our government confiscated it. There's a guy whose car ran on water. They confiscated it. There was a guy who tweaked an engine where it got like 1,000 miles to a gallon. It was confiscated. So when they come up with stuff, Nikola Tesla with his tower. And if it's not going to be profitable for somebody, they seem to take it away. So I don't know. But that's, if I was a government, I would, especially the UAE, you've got $70 trillion. You're with Saudi. You have sun. It's not like it's going anywhere. I would literally get the smartest guys in the room and go, let's make a car. Let's make a car, sell it for 50 or 100 grand. And who cares if it's the loss leader?
Car with a paywall.
That's it.
You want to get on the highway? Well, hey.
Pay, right.
Yes. Yeah. Pay here.
Yeah. Why not? And if self-driving, whatever it is, and like every feature cost is an app that costs X dollars every month. And you can make just say $200 or $300 a month. That is no more gas. You're looking at the money you would make globally if you're the first guy to come out with that. That would be, you would be the guy. Everyone would get your car because it could drive itself. You could drive it, whatever, yada, yada, yada. Runs on solar. You never have to do it. You can just trade it in when the new model comes out. But it's all the apps you make, like Apple. Once they sell you the phone, they make money on the apps. Do that with a car. What do I know? Greg and I will be starting our own country. See, David's not here. Greg and I are starting our own country. Feel free to come join us. We'll be developing a car. So
I'll leave you with one more thought. Of the protests. There was a funny story with the protesting. I don't know if it was COP28. There was a fossil fuel conference that was supposed to be happening in Australia or New Zealand. And there was one environmental activist in New Zealand. I think this was in The Guardian. It was Rosemary Purdy, age 64 or something. She's like, I don't want to block a highway. I don't want to chain myself to a vehicle. I don't want to glue myself to a painting. So she figured out who are the executive assistants
Right.
of all these oil executives who are supposed to be flying to this conference, and she just friended them on LinkedIn or connected with them and sent emails on official letterhead,
Right.
like official looking letters, via email, I guess, to the executive assistants, and said, "I'm so sorry, the date for this event has been moved, and we'll get back
Love
to
it.
you." So
Love it.
enough people didn't show up; they had to cancel the event. And it worked. And she was like, "Oh, I'm glad it could be effective." So now she's facing 10 years in prison
Really? For what?
fraud.
What
But
fraud?
the good news is, I think she's gonna find a way out. I think the warden's gonna get a letter like, "Oh,
This guy was saying she's going to send a letter.
yeah,
So,
Rosemary Purdy says
that's it.
Rosemary Purdy is supposed to go free." So sorry, Rosemary Purdy, you're free to go.
That is ingenious. I love her. If Rosemary, if you see this, you come on our show. We want to talk to you. You
Yeah.
are like we're your biggest fan at this point. That is awesome. I love that. That is really great. Well, Greg, it was good to see you, my friend.
Yeah.
It's
Talk to you
always
next
good.
month.
Next year.
It'll be the new year.
It'll be the new year. Well, Greg's going to stay, and we're going to figure out when Greg's coming back, and we'll put that in the bottom below so you guys can see that
I'll
as
just
well.
be like,
He'll be like, here I am. But everybody have a happy and healthy new year. If you're Jewish, enjoy your Hanukkah. It's almost over. For the Gentiles who make believe religion, with the baby thing going on, good luck with that.
Jewish baby.
Give the Jew well, technically we don't know. So there's no DNA test. We're not claiming anything.
Was he circumcised? We don't know.
We don't know. We weren't there. So, we'd stay away from that. So, yeah. So have a happy and healthy new year to everybody. Greg, it's always good to see you. Don't forget the merch. Don't forget all the other stuff that's below. We'll see you all with Greg next year. And the rest of the year was all our regular shows. And we'll see everybody soon. Thank you, Greg. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.